especially want to highlight what has also been in my spirit as I reflect on the year, but particularly as I pray in preparing for the wrap-up of the year. One of the things that has been uppermost emqondweni yethu cishe sonke, if not at least abaningi bethu, it is the prevalence of road accidents that we have seen in the past couple of months. And whilst we know ukuthi we are dealing with a situation in our country where one could argue ukuthi we don't have as many good roads, and some of the roads have been damaged, and two, we know ukuthi we've got people who are reckless on the roads, who also have cars that are not roadworthy. Beyond those factors, for me, and I would imagine for many of you, it has also become quite obvious that we are dealing with something that is beyond the physical, in the extent and the nature of accidents that we have seen, and some of which have been so devastating and gruesome that you immediately can tell that this is something spiritual in nature. We are not blind, Bazalwane. As a church, we must be alert. We are not blind to the fact that there is a rising force spiritually that is contesting with the force of good and the force of God that we have been creating dominance and kingdom for emhlabeni. And we see that in many ways. Abantu, uthi omunye kumina besikhuluma ngayo lento. In fact, my cousin, one of my cousins who was involved in a terrible accident, atumayichaza ati, that was not an accident. I don't know what to call it. But that was not an accident, it was something more than that. And he broke his one leg and he broke his wrist. He had operations on both hands, and the one leg, but he came out alive. Kutumas Kuluma, and I was sharing my views about these things, and he says, umasibheka indlela abantu abangenwa ngayo yimimoya, indlela abantu abangena ngayo eyintweni zesintu zobungoma, and the practices abantu abazenzayo, some of whom are not authentic or genuine kulokho abakwenzayo. We sometimes underestimate the damage that people are causing spiritually, because kusuka abantu abangena, ake ngikhulume nje respectfully ngalezi, kusuka abantu abangena iphiwo. In the same way we see in churches, la kusuka umuntu ongenasipho sokushumayela noma sokuphilisa abantu emoyeni, ebese suka athi nami ngibiziwe enze imgilingwane and upset things spiritually. In the same way, in that African religion, kunabantu who go in there without a calling, and they believe they've got a calling. There's a huge wave of that going on. But these people go and do practices that upset things spiritually, and cause the havoc and the chaos that we are seeing. Because when there is harmony and there is order spiritually, we see it in the physical life. Amen. And I think really what we are seeing right now, and the impact, the crash, yezinto, shows that there is serious disharmony and chaos in the spiritual world. And it is showing in our roads. And you are people of faith, you are spiritual people, you know the meaning of blood, and you know the meaning of the spilling of blood, and what it means in the world of sacrifices. And so I want to, and this is a message for the entire church, I want to call on a prayer on the 3rd of December as we have our last communion, Yalonyaga, and as we celebrate together the blood sacrifice that gave us life. Amen. And we call upon that blood sacrifice that gave us life to sustain our lives. Amen. And this is not a prayer because it is a festive season and the roads will be busy. Of course, that is obvious, but it is a prayer for life. It is a prayer for this time and this season that we are in for as long as we need that covering that God may lift a banner phambi kwethu nangasemva kwethu. God may lift a banner of protection. God may lift a banner of deliverance kulezi zinto, that we may not be in accidents, but even that less people will be in accidents, but most importantly, that our accidents do not become these fatal scenes that we see where there's loss of life. 6 people, 12 people, 18 people all dead, kids dying in that manner. That is not natural. That is not kukhona izinto ekholweni that we see and say this was not an accident. Yeah, it presents itself as an accident, but it is not an accident. And that's what we are dealing with right now, where we see what looks like an accident, but if you look at the extent of that, 21 children, blood, that is not an accident. And this is what I'd like us to pray against on the 3rd of December, amabandla onke. We will take a fast of just half a day, 11:30, but we will come together in prayer and just blocking every entrance, removing every obstacle on the road, and protecting the drivers, protecting the occupants of vehicles, and may God be with us. Ngalawo mazwi uNkulunkulu anibusise, anigcine nonke ukuthula makube nani. Amen.